Imagine tuning in expecting a calm heart-to-heart between Yandy and Mendeecees, only to witness sparks flying so fast the entire room felt like it could explode. What was meant to be a quiet sit-down about clearing the air turned into a moment that fans are calling one of the most jaw-dropping clashes in love and hip-hop history. Instead of healing, every word felt like a dagger, every glance loaded with tension, and every small detail, from a simple water bottle to a sharp tone, spiraled into something much bigger. Viewers couldn't believe their eyes as what started with minor frustrations quickly cracked open the deeper wounds of their marriage, exposing hidden resentments and years of unspoken conflict. Yandy, visibly exhausted, demanded answers and effort, while Mendeecees grew more defensive, insisting he had been fighting for them all along. The energy shifted from awkward to explosive in seconds, leaving everyone wondering if this was just another fight or the moment their marriage truly hit the point of no return. Insiders claimed the fallout was so intense, even the crew behind the cameras were stunned into silence. So now, the question is, did we just watch the collapse of Yandy and Mendeecees' love story unfold live? Yandy and Mendeecees sat down across from each other with an awkward silence that already felt heavier than the humid air in the room. The intention was simple. They wanted to clear the air to finally get on the same page before the Puerto Rico trip with the rest of the crew. But from the very first exchange, it became clear that peace was not going to come easy. You could feel the tension in their voices, the way each sentence sounded like a challenge rather than a bridge. What fans expected to be a heartfelt conversation about love and family spiraled into one of the rawest confrontations in recent memory. "You got real funky with me," Yandy started, her voice low but sharp, like she was daring him to deny it. "I didn't get funky," Mendeecees snapped back almost instantly. "You got funky. Instead of saying my bad, I'm sorry, you just kept that tough energy." The words hit harder than they should have. Fans watching knew this wasn't about a glass of water or a small misunderstanding. It was about everything underneath. Yandy leaned forward, frustration spilling from her tone. "It's not loving energy. It's not soft. It's not what I need from you. Every time something comes up, it's like you're ready to fight me instead of fight for me." That single sentence sent shockwaves through viewers because it touched on the exact wound so many fans had noticed. For months, Yandy had been the one putting on a brave face, defending their marriage in public, while behind the scenes, the cracks were widening. Mendeecees, who often prided himself on being strong and unbothered, didn't realize how much that same toughness was cutting into her spirit. He tried to soften his voice, saying, "Maybe you took it the wrong way. I apologize. Let's not make little things into big things." But to Yandy, it was too little, too late. She shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. "It's not just little things. It's always little things, and they pile up until they crush me. I'm tired of feeling like I'm carrying this marriage on my own shoulders." That statement pierced through the room like a knife. Fans at home were stunned. Comments flooded social media instantly. "Oh my God, this is deeper than we thought. Yandy looks so drained. And this is the beginning of the end." The irony was painful. What began as a sit-down to create peace was instead laying bare the fractures in their love. Mendeecees stiffened. "I've been fighting, too. You don't see it, but I fight every single day. Since we got together, I've been fighting for us." E slammed her hand lightly on the table, not in anger, but in desperation. "You say that, but I don't feel it. I don't see it. I feel like I've been the only one out here fighting, defending, sacrificing, while you just show up when it's convenient." His voice hardened. "You making problems that don't exist. You turning small things into battles. I can't keep doing this. I don't have the time for the bull." And with that, the entire tone shifted. Fans online described it perfectly. The moment he said that, her face broke. She sat back in her chair, her lips trembling, trying to hold back both anger and heartbreak. She whispered, "I can't be the only one fighting. I've been fighting for too long, and now I'm tired." This wasn't just an argument anymore. It was years of resentment spilling out. Every time Yandy had defended him in front of friends, every time she had carried the family while he was absent, every time she felt alone in the partnership, all of it came crashing into this moment. And instead of reassurance, she was met with walls. Then came the bombshell. Yandy revealed she had been learning things about him from other people instead of from him. "If I walk into a room and hear about my husband from strangers, what does that say about us? What does that say about the trust we're supposed to have?" Mendeecees' entire demeanor shifted. His body stiffened. His voice grew sharper. His defensiveness louder. "You always acting like I'm hiding something. You always so defensive. So quick to make it bigger than it is." But fans knew what they were witnessing. Classic deflection. Instead of addressing her pain, he flipped it back on her. The irony was brutal. Here she was begging for honesty and love, and he was accusing her of being the problem. The internet exploded with commentary. Some fans sided with Yandy, calling her the backbone of the family who deserved better. Others sided with Mendeecees, arguing that he was tired of being blamed for everything. The debate raged across timelines, but one thing was clear. The sit-down had become one of the most explosive scenes of the season. Yandy's exhaustion was written across her face. She looked at him, eyes heavy with disappointment. "I've defended us with everyone. I've carried us when it felt like nobody else would. But now I need you to fight for us. I can't do it by myself anymore." Mendeecees leaned back, shaking his head, muttering, "You don't even see what I've done. I've been in this fight since day one." But the words no longer connected. Fans described it as two people shouting across a canyon, their voices echoing but never reaching the other side. The silence that followed was haunting. She looked at him, searching for something, any sign that he would soften, step forward, embrace her pain. But instead, he looked away. For those watching, it felt like a breaking point, not because of the water bottle, not because of the defensive words, but because the love that once held them together seemed buried under layers of pride and exhaustion. And that's when the most heartbreaking line slipped from Yandy's lips. Her voice barely audible, she said, "I think I've been the only one fighting for too long. And if I'm the only one still fighting, maybe this marriage is already over." The camera lingered on Mendeecees, who stayed quiet, his expression unreadable. The silence was louder than any argument they'd had. Viewers couldn't look away. It wasn't just a scene. It was raw, unfiltered pain spilling out in real time. Fans tweeted things like, "This is too real. I can't watch. And if they can't make it, who can?" Hashtags trended within minutes, and the clip went viral across every platform. What was supposed to be a reconciliation turned into a revelation that their marriage might already be hanging by a thread. The silence after Yandy's final words lingered in the air like a storm cloud that refused to move. She had just admitted something that no spouse ever wants to say out loud, that maybe she had been the only one fighting for too long, and that maybe their marriage was already hanging by a thread. Many sat there, expression blank, lips pressed tight together, as if he didn't know whether to defend himself again or simply walk away. The weight of the moment was heavy, and fans watching could feel it. This wasn't the playful back-and-forth bickering they were used to. This was raw, uncomfortable, and painfully real. Yandy leaned back in her chair, exhaling deeply, her eyes darting down at the table instead of at him. "Every time I try to talk to you," she said softly, "you shut me down. I bring up something small, and instead of just listening, you make it into an argument. I don't want to keep living like this." Her words carried the kind of exhaustion that only comes from years of repeating yourself, years of not feeling heard, years of not feeling heard. Mendeecees finally broke his silence. His tone was defensive, his words clipped. "You think I don't listen? You think I don't care? I've been here every day doing what I got to do for this family. You don't see it because you're too focused on pointing out what I don't do." She shook her head. "Being here physically isn't the same as being present emotionally. I don't just need you to show up in the house. I need you to show up for me. I need you to listen, to care about the little things, to not make me feel like I'm crazy for wanting more from you." The argument went in circles, both of them repeating themselves, both of them frustrated. But what caught everyone off guard was when Yandy brought up the conversation with his mother. She said, "The way you spoke to me in front of your mom, it made me feel like I was the outsider, like I wasn't even your partner, just somebody you had to defend yourself against." Mendeecees immediately grew tense, his voice rising. "Don't bring my mom into this. That's not fair. That conversation went left because you came in with that's not fair. That conversation went left because you came in with energy, like you had something to prove." "Energy," Yandy repeated, her eyebrows raised. "So now I can't even speak my truth without being accused of having bad energy. I was trying to explain how I felt, and instead of hearing me, you made me the problem." The fans watching this moment were stunned. Social media lit up with comments like, "This is the realest fight they've ever had, and you can tell this isn't about the mom. It's about deeper issues." One viewer wrote, "You can see Yandy's face. She's breaking inside, and he just doesn't get it." But then just when it seemed like things might calm down, Yandy dropped another bombshell. "I find out things about you from other people," she said. "From friends, from whispers, from conversations I'm not even supposed to hear. How do you think that makes me feel as your wife?" Mendeecees immediately bristled. "What are you talking about? What things?" She looked him straight in the eyes. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." His tone sharpened. "So now you're going to sit here and bring up rumors, stuff you hear from other people. I'm supposed to defend myself against gossip. No, I'm not doing that. Fans could feel the heat rising through the screen. The energy was explosive, the tension unbearable. One person tweeted, "This is marriage collapse, live for real. He's dodging, she's breaking, and we're all watching it unfold." The conversation spiraled again. Yandy accused him of being too defensive while he accused her of attacking him for no reason. "You so defensive," she said. "Every time I try to bring something up, you act like I'm coming at you." "I'm just trying to talk to my husband. I'm not defensive," he shot back. I'm tired of the constant arguments, the constant accusations, like I'm never enough." His voice cracked slightly, betraying just how much frustration he had been carrying and for a brief moment, fans saw the vulnerability in him, but instead of softening, the tension between them grew sharper. The scene played out like a roller coaster, moments of near reconciliation immediately shattered by another clash. Yandy said, "I can't keep fighting for two people. I need you to meet me halfway." Mendeecees replied, "I have been, you just don't see it." Then came the question that silenced even the loudest viewers online. Yandy asked, "Do you feel like we need space? Do you think maybe some time apart would help us?" The pause that followed was deafening. Mendeecees didn't answer right away. He looked down at his hands, then away at the wall, as if searching for words he couldn't find. The silence stretched on too long. And finally, Yandy whispered, "The no answer is enough of an answer for me." Viewers gasped collectively. One fan tweeted, "That silence hurt more than any words could." Another posted, "This is the moment their marriage cracked." The conversation seemed to collapse right there. Yandy sat back, wiping a tear, her body trembling slightly from the weight of it all. "I feel like you're not hearing me," she said. "I feel like nothing I say gets through to you." Mendeecees, his voice heavy now, responded, "I don't want to fight with you anymore. I'm fighting everywhere else, every single day. I don't want to come home and fight here, too." But Yandy wasn't convinced. "You say you don't want to fight, but every word out of your mouth is a fight. I'm not your enemy. I'm your wife." The fans watching described it as one of the most heartbreaking exchanges they had ever seen on the show. It wasn't dramatic screaming. It wasn't over-the-top theatrics. It was the quiet devastation of two people who loved each other but no longer knew how to communicate. The moment ended with Yandy whispering, "Where do we go from here? What are we doing?" And Mendeecees, after a long pause, simply said, "I don't know." That "I don't know" became the quote of the night. Plastered across social media, repeated in endless memes and fan debates. It wasn't just uncertainty, it was the sound of a marriage teetering on the edge of collapse. When the cameras cut, the tension was still unresolved. Fans were left breathless, wondering if this was the final straw or just another chapter in a love story that had already survived so much. But one thing was clear, this sit-down was not just a conversation, it was a revelation. A breaking point, and maybe even the beginning of the end. The aftermath of that sit-down was like an earthquake that left cracks across everything around them. The words may have stopped, but the silence between Yandy and Mendeecees grew louder with each passing moment. Viewers watching from home could sense that neither of them walked away feeling any closer to peace. Instead, they left with heavier hearts, unanswered questions, and a cloud of doubt hanging over their marriage. Yandy retreated into herself, her expression blank, but her eyes betraying the storm inside. She had poured her feelings out, she had begged for partnership, and still she was met with walls. Her voice echoed in fans' minds when she said, "The no answer is enough of an answer." That line quickly spread across social media, a heartbreaking soundbite that symbolized how many people feel when their cries for love fall on deaf ears. Mendeecees, meanwhile, kept repeating to himself that he didn't want to fight. But even in his insistence, his tone carried frustration and defensiveness, as if he didn't truly believe the words, "I'm fighting everywhere else. I don't want to fight here," he had said. But to Yandy, that sounded like an excuse, not a solution. And fans online were divided. Some argued that he was simply overwhelmed and exhausted, while others claimed he was avoiding accountability, using his struggles outside the marriage to justify neglecting the struggles inside it. The next day, the conversation still lingered. When Yandy spoke with a close friend, she broke down in tears. "I feel like I've been shouting into an empty room," she confessed. "I keep telling him what I need, but it's like he can't hear me. Or maybe he just doesn't want to." Her friend tried to console her, reminding her of all the challenges they had overcome in the past. But even that reassurance felt hollow. "This doesn't feel like before," Yandy whispered. "This feels like the end of something." Back on Mendeecees' side, he vented to a confidant of his own. "She don't understand the pressure I'm under. It's like she only sees what I don't do, never what I actually do. I show up every day. I provide, I protect, but somehow it's not enough." His frustration was raw, But beneath it, there was also fear. Fear that he was losing her. Fear that his effort wasn't translating. Fear that his marriage was slipping away no matter what he said or did. Fans online quickly caught on to this parallel. Two people telling the same story from opposite perspectives. Yandy believed she was the only one fighting. Mendeecees believed he had been fighting all along. And yet, despite their claims, both felt unseen. Both felt unheard. It was a tragic irony that left viewers heartbroken. What made the situation worse was the timing. With the Puerto Rico trip around the corner, the tension between them threatened to spill over into the group dynamic. Yandy herself admitted, "I don't even know if I want to go now. How can I be around everyone else when I can't even get peace in my own home?" But Mendeecees had already told people he was going. "I need a break," he said, "and if she doesn't want to come, that's on her." This difference in perspective only deepened the rift. To Yandy, his eagerness to escape with friends instead of fixing things at home felt like betrayal. To him, her refusal to let things go felt like suffocation. Their friends and castmates noticed the change, too. One source claimed, they used to walk into rooms together, like a team. Now they walk in like strangers. The fans were merciless in their commentary. Some sided with Yandy, applauding her for demanding more effort from her husband. "She deserves better. She deserves to be heard," one fan wrote. Others defended Mendeecees, saying he was under immense stress and unfairly painted as the villain. "He's trying, but she keeps pushing him," another fan argued. The debate was everywhere, and the couple's relationship became the center of a heated online conversation. And then came the rumors. Whispers started spreading that maybe there was more to Mendeecees' defensiveness than exhaustion. Some speculated that the information Yandy heard from others wasn't just about minor things. It could have been something bigger, something serious. The lack of detail in their conversation only fueled the speculation. What is he hiding? Fans asked. Why is he so defensive? Memes and threads popped up, dissecting every facial expression, every pause, every word he didn't say. Meanwhile, Yandy's emotional confessions Recei's confessional, however, told a different story. "I love my wife. I love my family, but I can't live my life constantly being accused, constantly being told, I'm not enough, constantly being accused, constantly being told, I'm not enough. I'm tired of the battles. I just want peace." His voice cracked slightly, betraying the truth that he was hurting, too, even if he couldn't show it to her directly. Fans were left torn. Some saw two people who still loved each other, but had lost their way. Others saw the signs of a marriage too far gone to repair. But everyone agreed on one thing. The sit-down had become more than just a reality TV moment. It was a mirror reflecting the struggles of countless relationships. Fights over little things that hide much bigger wounds, pride that blocks vulnerability, and love that isn't always enough to keep two people together. And as the credits rolled, one question echoed louder than all the noise. Were Yandy and Mendeecees standing at the edge of healing or standing at the edge of goodbye? The sit-down between Yandy and Mendeecees had ended, but the storm it created refused to settle. Instead of clearing the air, it left both of them breathing heavier, as though the conversation had drained every ounce of energy without offering a single drop of resolution. When the cameras followed them into their next scenes, it was clear that this wasn't just another marital spat. This was a fracture that might not heal. The morning after, Yandy was seen pacing the kitchen, her phone in her hand, but her mind clearly elsewhere. She told a close friend on the phone, "I don't even know who my husband is anymore. I feel like I have to beg for basic love, for basic effort, and I'm so tired of begging." The friend tried to reassure her, telling her to give Mendeecees space, but Yandy's reply was heartbreaking. "How much space am I supposed to give before there's nothing left of us?" Mendeecees, meanwhile, was sitting outside, scrolling through his phone, replaying last night's conversation in his mind. He muttered under his breath, "Why she always got to make me the bad guy? I'm out here holding it down, and somehow, I'm the villain." His tone wasn't loud or angry. It was defeated, but instead of seeking her out to Mendeecees things, he stayed silent, letting the wall between them grow taller. Fans online noticed the disconnect instantly. Clips of the episode went viral with captions like, "They're living in two different worlds, and you can love each other and still be strangers." Threads on social media turned the fight into a debate about gender roles, emotional labor, and accountability in relationships. Some called Yandy a queen for demanding more, while others accused her of nitpicking. Some defended Mendeecees, saying he was exhausted and unappreciated. But regardless of sides, one thing united the audience. Everyone agreed they had just witnessed one of the rawest breakdowns of the season. Things grew even messier when the Puerto Rico trip was brought back into the conversation. Mendeecees had already told the guys he was going, and Scrappy, ever the instigator, teased him about the fight. "Bro, you better not bring that storm energy to Puerto Rico," Scrappy joked. Mendeecees forced a laugh, but his eyes gave away the truth. He wasn't joking, and neither was the pain in his marriage. Yandy, on the other hand, confided in Rashida. "I can't be the only one making sacrifices," she said. "If he thinks a vacation is more important than fixing what's broken here, then maybe he should go. Maybe that's what he really wants." Rashida, caught between wanting to support her friend and not stir the pot, gently suggested counseling, but Yandy shook her head. "We can't even have a conversation without it turning into war. How are we supposed to sit in front of a therapist?" The more they tried to move forward, the more they seemed to drift apart. In one scene, Yandy admitted, "I used to feel like no matter what, he was my safe place. Now I don't know if I feel safe with him emotionally. I don't know if I can lean on him anymore." That confession cut deep not only for fans but for anyone who had ever watched them grow together over the years. Mendeecees in his own confessional fired back indirectly. "It's like no matter what I do, it's never enough. I show up. I try. But somehow I'm always the one at fault. I'm tired of defending myself in my own marriage." His words painted him as a man cornered, a man who loved his wife but didn't know how to give her what she was asking for. By this point, the fans were fully invested in the unfolding disaster. "This marriage collapse is happening in front of our eyes," one tweet read. Another said, "The water bottle was just the trigger. This is years of pain exploding." Hashtags trended overnight, and the conversation spilled beyond just the show's fandom. Podcasts, blogs, and entertainment sites all picked up the story, dissecting every detail of their fight. Then came the quiet but devastating moment when Yandy removed her ring during a confessional. She didn't make a grand announcement. She didn't shout. It was subtle, almost too subtle, but it said everything. She fiddled with it, sighed, and whispered, "I don't know if this means anything anymore." Fans froze. Screenshots of her bare hands circulated within minutes, sparking headlines like, "Is this the end?" and "Yandy takes off the ring." When asked about it later, she explained, "I took it off because I didn't want to look down at my hand and feel like I was lying to myself. I've been fighting, but I don't know if I'm fighting alone." Her honesty broke hearts everywhere. Mendeecees didn't directly address the ring moment, but in his own way, he responded. In a separate scene, he told a friend, "You know, people think she's the only one fighting, but I've been fighting battles nobody sees. I've been fighting the streets, the system, my own demons. Maybe I don't say it right, but that don't mean I don't care." His voice cracked, betraying the pain behind his stoic front. The couple's children became another point of concern. Yandy admitted, "I don't want them to see us like this. They deserve joy. They deserve peace. They deserve to see a marriage that looks like love." Her eyes, it was subtle, almost too subtle, but it said everything. She fiddled with it, sighed, and whispered, "I don't know if this means anything anymore." Fans froze. Screenshots of her bare hands circulated within minutes, sparking headlines like, "Is this the end?" and "Yandy takes off the ring." When asked about it later, she explained, "I took it off because I didn't want to look down at my hand and feel like I was lying to myself. I've been fighting, but I don't know if I'm fighting alone." Her honesty broke hearts everywhere. Mendeecees didn't directly address the ring moment, but in his own way, he responded. In a separate scene, he told a friend, "You know, people think she's the only one fighting, but I've been fighting battles nobody sees. I've been fighting the streets, the system, my own demons. Maybe I don't say it right, but that don't mean I don't care." His voice cracked, betraying the pain behind his stoic front. The couple's children became another point of concern. Yandy admitted, "I don't want them to see us like this. They deserve joy. They deserve peace. They deserve to see a marriage that looks like love." Her eyes welled with tears as she said it, her voice trembling. "I don't want them to grow up thinking this is normal." Mendeecees agreed, but his agreement was buried under frustration. "Yeah, they deserve peace. But that means you got to stop making everything an argument. I want them to see love, too, but they can't if you keep coming at me." The blame game continued, each side convinced the other was the one tearing things apart. The episode built toward one final exchange, one that left fans speechless. Sitting together again, Yandy asked, "Where are we going from here? What do you see for us?" Mendeecees paused, his eyes dropping to the floor. "I don't know," he said quietly. Yandy shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "Then maybe that's the answer." The scene ended there, raw and unresolved. Fans at home described it as one of the most gut-wrenching finales to a confrontation in love and hip-hop history. Some were furious at Mendeecees for not fighting harder. Others were heartbroken for Yandy, watching her crumble under the weight of carrying too much. But everyone agreed they had just watched something that would change the course of their story forever. As the credits rolled, viewers were left with more questions than answers. Was this the breaking point, or could they still find their way back to each other? The silence between them, the missing ring, the heavy words, all of it hung in the air like an unfinished sentence. And the fans hungry for answers were left to wonder if this was truly the collapse of one of the most iconic marriages in the franchise. After everything we just witnessed, one truth is impossible to deny. This was one of the most explosive moments in love and hip-hop history. A sit-down that was meant to bring healing only tore deeper wounds wide open. From a water bottle, 2 years of pent-up resentment, Yandy and Mendeecees showed the world that sometimes the smallest sparks can set a whole marriage on fire. The silence between them said more than any shouting match ever could, and fans everywhere are still reeling from the sight of a love story hanging by a thread. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that it's not just about two people. It's about a family. Yandy's tears over her children not growing up in a home filled with love struck a chord with viewers across the globe. Mindy's quiet admission that he's been fighting unseen battles pulled sympathy, but together, their voices felt like echoes bouncing off different walls. The family was left divided. The fans were left divided, and the future of their marriage is now the biggest question hanging in the air. So, where does this leave them? Is this truly the collapse of a marriage we've all rooted for? Or is this the brutal breaking point that forces them to finally rebuild stronger than ever? Will Yandy's pain push her to walk away? Or will Mendeecees find the words and actions to fight for his wife before it's too late? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this isn't just another storyline. This is raw, real, and unforgettable. Now wooin' to hear from you. Whose side are you on? Do you think Yandy was right to call out the lack of love? Or do you believe Mendeecees' battles behind the scenes explain his distance? Should they take a break, seek counseling, or walk away for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters in this conversation. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications right now. The story isn't over, and trust me, you won't want to miss the next chapter in this unforgettable saga.